I feel like there's certain things that's like, we love talking about mom stuff. We also only have 8-month-olds. We're not like seasoned, like veteran moms.
Also, it's so fresh for us.
And we are not in the newborn phase. We have conquered that whole situation. Like, don't ask me tips on stuff that we're doing right now. But
I feel like when I think about newborn phase, I'm like, back in Nam.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, we've got that part down. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've lived it recently.
Welcome back to Girl vs. Girl podcast. I'm Melissa.
I'm Kylie.
You got I forgot my own name. We just got done recording the last episode, so I'm like, welcome back.
Where are we?
Who
what
am
are we
I?
doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just recorded
a Mother's Day
episode. We didn't even say that we're doing like kind of Mother's Day content.
Yeah,
between now and Mother's Day.
Yeah, this one's a mom talk, so we're doing kind of like some mom stuff.
Usually we'll only do like one mom talk. That wasn't a mom talk, but it was still mom related. Usually we'll just do like one mom related episode a month, but
like every fourth episode or something. Yeah.
We're kind of doing like a little mom theme since it's Mother's Day time. Anyway, so we did life updates in that, but we saved some life updates. Yeah. You go first.
I don't say my biggest life update because my biggest life update was in the last episode. My second biggest life update is that I branched out and it was a mistake.
Oh, with what? Oh, your nails.
I hate it.
I like them.
I hate it.
I like that color on you.
I thought they're the same color as my Stanley. I love my Stanley. I don't like my Stanley on my freaking nails. And you want to know what? I am a black nail girly. Yeah. I will never not have black nails. That's just my vibe. Like,
well, I like them. They look good.
Every time I look at them, on this hand, it's not so bad. On this hand with my turquoise ring, it's like...
too much.
Look. Regret. But you want to know what? I barely scraped the time together to do these.
And you're living with them for a couple of weeks. Yeah.
I'm living with them because even though they're the semi-cured gel ones, so like realistically, it's like a 15-minute manicure.
15 minutes is a good amount of time.
I will not be redoing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They will fall off and I will hate them for as long as I have them.
Well, I get that you just don't like them, but they don't actually look bad, and you know that they don't actually look bad.
It's not like you're cute color.
It's not like you're walking around with like hideous nails.
Yeah,
you just
but
aren't a fan.
No, it's not my color at all. My other thing was that thank God I have a husband with a set of cojones because he got into a little tiff with the dealership.
Oh,
that I just got my new car from.
Can you give the details?
Yeah, I can give the details.
Because you told me that there was a little tiff, but then we never really
when I
actually got into it.
When he was like on the phone, like yelling at the guy. Basically, I don't actually know the details.
Okay, on to the next then.
I just don't know how it all works. Basically,
can you give me the details? Yeah, I can give you the details. Actually, I don't really know the details.
Basically, okay, here's the deal. Basically, Jake has worked at dealerships. Like, he understands
how it works.
That they're trying to just bend you over, basically. Mm-hmm. And he has, like, had buddies that are GMs.
Bend you over. That is a nice way of saying it. I'm going to take that and use it. I like that.
That's what they're trying to do to you, Kylie.
Yeah, they are.
And everybody knows that. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times people don't realize that every single person in that building is trying to do that. I.e., even the finance guy.
Obviously the finance guy, Melissa. Yeah.
Well, the point is you're supposed to go in there and say, okay, what's my payment going to look like? How much am I putting down? What's the interest rate? Do I want all the extra stuff? Do I want to sign away the package? Is there warranty? Mm-hmm. All of that. That's where, like, the stack this thick of paperwork is, right?
Right.
Well, Jake's not dumb, and he wanted to pay it off in a certain amount of time, and that made the interest rate higher. And the guy tried to make him feel dumb and be like, well, you want a higher interest rate? Like, and Jake's like, huh, yeah, I do. Because, like, that makes
I don't care. I still want to pay it off.
Yeah, I'd rather have a higher interest rate and pay it off in 4 years.
You're still paying less money.
You're still paying less money than if you had a lower interest rate and you're paying it off in, like, 6 years.
Yeah.
And the guy was just kind of an a-hole.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Jake was like, whatever, left. They kind of, like, they didn't get into it, but Jake was just not happy with him. And I thought everything was fine. And then, like, a week later, the guy calls him and goes, hey, would you do I'm not going to say the dealership, even though I probably said the car and everything, what it is. But just to be a little bit nice, I won't air it out right now. You'd have to do a little bit of research on our podcast to figure out what it is, but
we got to get some more watch time from you.
Yeah, it's not that deep. Yeah. And so they call him and they go, if you want to give us a review, we'll fill your tank. Like, we'll fill your tank with gas. And he's like, okay, like, dealerships need reviews. He's like, that's a little, not common, but he's like, whatever, we'll do it. Sure. And he's like, so he calls the guy back the next day. He goes, okay, I want to do the review. How do I do it? And the guy goes, well, I got to walk you through it and give you the answers.
Oh.
Jake goes, come again? And he's like, well, it has to be a good review, like a positive review, and you need to answer all the questions correctly, so I'm going to give you, like, the answers to the questions, and I'll fill your tank. Jake goes, that sounds a little unethical to me.
Yeah. You could even say that you have to do a positive review, but they can't have you.
Yeah, it's a little unethical. He could have even said, like,
he could say, I need a 5-star review.
I really got to get.
I'm not going to put words in your mouth type of situation,
And then he goes, and Jake kind of felt off about it. So then the guy goes, well, it's really important for the sales guys, on the floor to get their bonuses with these good reviews. And Jake's like, yeah, something feels weird. So he's like, I'll call you back another day. Calls him back, and he talks to a different guy. Well, the different guy is telling him, oh, no, that has nothing to do with the sale guys. The guys on the floor has nothing to do with their bonuses. It's, like, this guy that benefits or whatever. And, like, we don't do that as a dealership, so it must be this guy paying out of his own pocket for your tank of gas. Jake goes, okay, that definitely doesn't sit right with me. Mm-hmm. On top of that guy told him, the original guy, said that changing the plates and the titles, because the title of my car that we traded in was in my name, and obviously I don't have a job because I'm a stay-at-home mom, so it made more sense for the title to be in Jake's name. Mm-hmm. And the changing the title and the registration and all that crap, the guy was like, yeah, it's going to be this much, like a decent amount of money, but like nothing bad, right? DMV fees.
Right.
Well, he talks to this new guy, and all of a sudden those fees have tripled. And they can't do the title, even though I was there and I signed that the title could go into his name.
Right. And
so Jake's like, okay, you guys either have no idea what you're doing, don't communicate, or you're just trying to bend me over again. Like what's going on? So he's already pissed off. He calls back the first guy, and they actually, like, get into it. And he's, like, kind of yelling at him. And he's like, you don't see how this is unethical? Like, I found out that you're going to pay me out of your pocket to give a good review. Like, there's not, like, that's wrong. And this review only benefits you.
Right.
Like, this is super unethical. You've made me feel, you're trying to, like, talk down to me and be, like, condescending about the interest rate. Like, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all these red flags. And Jake's just like, I will not be coming back to this dealership. I will be contacting your GM. And also, I will be doing the review. It's not going to be a good one. And so then, long story short, Jake's a badass and ended up getting all the DMV fees covered by them because they messed up and told us the wrong stuff and just were misleading, making it sound better than it was so that, like,
Yeah.
Which is dumb because they don't even benefit. It's DMV fees.
Right.
And then they ended up giving him a free tank of gas anyway.
Good.
So I got a free tank of gas and did nothing for it. That's my life update.
Nice. Well, that sounds like a pain in the butt that was not worth free tank of gas, but
for me though, because I got a show.
Yeah.
Jake and I are both very similar. We're very nice, we're very calm, we're very reasonable.
Until you're not.
Until you piss us off. Yeah. And then it's like bad cop, worse cop.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun. It's like when your dad gets into the fight with the telemarketer. You're like,
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Oh, I love it.
That's like, remember when we were like barely just very first friends and we went through In-N-Out, and you know how at In-N-Out there's like the line and then the road goes through and then there's like the other line?
Yeah.
We were like first in like the separated part of the line and someone like pulled in.
Cut us.
I
think I was driving, huh?
And I think it's Jake. I can't imagine.
Oh, we were all four together. You're right. It was Jake driving.
Yeah. And Jake honks, and I'm like, what are you doing? This is so embarrassing.
Oh, he did not just honk. He honked, and he was like, what are you doing? Yeah. Or whatever. And then I was like, Kylie's like crying in the back seat, and I'm like, yeah, fight.
Anyways,
yeah, that's
I don't
the
like
difference
that,
between
yeah,
Kylie and I.
Yeah.
Kylie's the type that goes, my drink's wrong. I'm like, your drink's wrong? She's like, shh, I'll drink it. And I'm like, no, I'll go get your right drink.
Yeah.
And you're like hiding in the corner.
Literally. I'm like, this is so embarrassing.
We're not together.
One time they did my drink wrong and I was meeting Chris somewhere and So we had 2 cars, and I made him take my drink back in his car. I was like, I'm not going. That's so embarrassing. I'll just drink it.
Oh my gosh.
So embarrassing.
I know if my coffee is correctly made just from like, I can see them handing it to me, and I can see the color. I'm like,
I do too. I do
or
too.
I'll
And
watch
then I say,
them make
thanks,
it.
looks great.
Oh no, I watch them make it. There's a couple times if I'm at Starbucks, it's normally fine. But
that
if
was
I'm at
eerily fast.
Yeah, if I'm at like a coffee shop
Uh-huh.
and I watch them make it, I'll stop them mid drink and go, "That's not how you make that. That's not how you do."
Oh my gosh, Melissa, that is so embarrassing.
No, I don't care.
You
Like
should
I
be
get a
ashamed.
dry cap, and they're like, if I get a dry cap or a wet cap, they look at me like I'm speaking Mongolian or something.
Really?
I'm like,
That's bizarre.
do you need
I
me to
know what that is.
explain it to you?
Kinda.
And then I watch them make it, and I'm like, no, that's not how you make it.
Can I come back there?
Yeah, I'm like, can I just do it? I worked at a coffee shop for years.
Yeah.
Like,
Any other
no.
life updates?
I'll shut up.
Okay. My life updates that I was going to say this time that I didn't say last time is that we are doing crib naps. Kinda.
That's right.
Kinda. Today didn't go quite as smooth as yesterday, but still.
I was like, did you try again today?
Just for a second nap.
That one matters a little less.
Yeah. The deal on the crib nap, contact nap, car nap situation is that Kosa's only done contact naps and or car naps for 8 months. And yes, I would like to have the freedom of like putting him in his crib and having him nap, but also there's something so sweet about a baby napping on you, number one. Number two, it's not like it's that big of a deal for me to do it. Like I stay at home, it's fine, and it's kind of nice to just scroll on TikTok for
you get a break.
30, 60, 90 minutes, like whatever. Like that is kind of nice. It's not a full break because you have someone sucking on your nipple the whole time, or that's how it is.
Does he nurse the whole time?
Pretty much, yeah.
Really?
Just a human pacifier.
See, that I would just get the overstimulation.
Yeah, I kind of do, yeah. But I'm still just like able to chill, you know?
Yeah.
And the car nap situation, I honestly kind of really like going on a little drive in the morning.
Get a little treat.
He wakes up around noon, 11:30 noon, and it's almost like the day doesn't start until then.
Yeah.
Like it just kind of feels like the first
You don't need to be
productive. Yeah, it just feels like the first part of the morning was just not like, I don't know, it just feels like the day starts at noon, so it kills some time easier. Then we're already in town and we live out of town, so we're already in town. It makes it really easy to hang out with someone. Like, yeah, we don't need to do that now because his wake windows are longer, but it still helps. Like, time is still time. It is easier. And it's just, even if we go on a drive and we come straight home after, it just feels good to get out of the house. Like, if that's all we do all day, it's still like
you have a guaranteed
getting out of the house
outing.
situation. Yeah. So I don't really want to give that up either.
Which is fine.
So, but I've kind of thought in my head that I need to do the 2 crib naps. And if I want to get him to nap in his crib, I'm going to have to do both because I tried doing the crib nap a little bit ago and I was only trying to do 1 nap with it. And I tried for like 2 weeks, probably more than 2 weeks, but probably 2 weeks. And he was just not having it. And I gave up on it because I was like, this just isn't worth it.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, I need to try again. But then I was like, do I need to try again? Like, do I actually even want to do this? Or am I just like doing this because I feel like
you have to.
Like I need to type of situation?
Yeah.
Anyway, so then I was like, okay, I'm going to do it this weekend. And then I was like, no, I'm not. And then yesterday I was like, I'm just going to try it. Like, I'm just going to put him in his crib for a second nap. And if he doesn't want to do it, I'll just pull him out and I'll hold him like I always do. Like, I don't really have that much to lose, basically. It's kind of like my thought. And I put him in his crib and I nursed him to sleep. He was sleeping. I put him in his crib. He opens his eyes and looks around and I go, okay, never mind. Like, here we go. That's it. I was like, okay, that's fine, but whatever. I was like, nope, I'm just going to walk away and see what he does.
See what happens.
I walked away. Literally 2 minutes. He's asleep. And he made noise, but he did not cry. He was maybe like, asleep.
Like whining.
2 minutes. Not even. Like, almost just like,
nice.
Just kind of like
Did he sleep on his back like that the whole time when you snapped me?
Yeah, he did. And for his nap, which he usually doesn't at night.
He doesn't usually sleep on his stomach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the nap, he slept on his back. Today, I tried. Sorry if you can hear him in the background. I'm trying to not get distracted.
He's having a good time.
Yeah. today I kind of tried the same thing, and basically the same thing happened. Yesterday he took a full hour, and then I had to wake him up because otherwise he's not going to go to bed until later. If he wants to take a longer nap for that second nap, we can do that, but then I've got to shift it. Yeah, I got to shift it a little bit, So yesterday he took like a full hour nap. Today only took like 40 minutes.
That's still really good.
Still really good. Yeah.
When we were first doing crib naps, I was lucky to get 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah, and like not any, same thing. I put him down and he opened his eyes when he woke up when I transferred him, which is fine. Like he puts himself to sleep. I think
that's what they mean when they say lay him down drowsy, but
that's what I do. Yeah.
Is like you kind of, like I think it's easier to just lay him down pretty much asleep and then kind of like wake him up a little bit.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do at night.
Right.
And it works great. I've been kind of thinking with the crib naps, like if I can just lay him down asleep, I'm just going to lay him down asleep.
Yeah, sometimes it's worth it. It's a short amount of time.
Yeah. But yeah, he kind of woke up and then same thing, like 2 minutes, kind of didn't even cry, wouldn't even say fuss, just kind of like got comfy.
So are you going to cut out the car nap for a little bit?
No, I'm just going to keep doing the car nap until I decide I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. And if one day I'm like, I don't feel like doing the car nap today, then maybe I'll decide then. But right now I just kind of like it.
Yeah.
It's fun. It feels good.
That makes sense.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I like it. Whatever. I also feel like that first nap, if you can get that first nap right, the second nap is like, if he only takes a 30-minute second nap, that's not ideal, but like it's fine.
Yeah, you can always do an extra 30 minutes to an hour in the evening sometimes, but you ain't doing that in the middle of the day.
Right. So it feels like I don't really want to mess with it. Anyways, that's my nap update. Stay tuned if it's
a huge win.
Yeah. And he'll obviously still sleep on me too because he falls asleep.
Yeah.
So I'm not like I'm not losing anything is how it feels.
Yeah.
So that's ideal. And stay tuned next week if it's still going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Literally.
My other little baby life update that I'll give just briefly is that we bought the Costco Nugget Couch dupe.
I was like, is it a Nugget Couch?
No, it's the Costco version of it, which I put a thing on my Instagram that was like, let me know if you have the Nugget Couch and if you like it. And a lot of people said to get the Costco one. And then I was like, I don't know if I'm not really a name brand person on everything.
You are.
I am on nice things because I feel like I've proven and I've gone through the whole thing, the Chronicles of the Stroller, and it was worth it to spend. To me, it was worth the extra money.
I'm glad because
that
was a trip.
I know, it was worth it though. Well, I should have just bought it in the first place, which was my thought with the Nugget Couch. Like, should I just buy the Nugget Couch in the first place? I also thought that the Costco couch was $200 and the Nugget was $250, and I was like, I'd rather spend the extra $50 and get the actual Nugget Couch.
Yeah.
But the Costco one was only $150, so it was.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, it was a big enough difference. Bought it yesterday, and the Costco one also, which I didn't realize, comes with way more pieces, so it's bigger.
I know. I was looking at it online because Jake's like, "What's a Nugget Couch?" So I was showing him. And I was like, there's only like 4 pieces.
Yeah, it's bigger. Which, honestly, like right now with how old he is almost kind of obnoxious because it's like, I almost wish it was smaller and took up less room. Yeah, I can put him in the closet or whatever. But it'll be really nice when he's older and he wants to build like a fort or make a slide. Yeah. Like, it'll be nice to have the extra pieces. Anyways, we've had it for 24 hours. He really likes it so far. Feels really good. I also want to get him a pickler triangle.
I know. I was going to say, we don't want the Nugget Couch, but we kind of want like the pickler triangle situation. Yeah. Or like a jungle gym type situation. So I'm like, if you have the couch and we have the jungle gym, we can share.
That's true. I'll probably still also get a jungle gym.
Yeah.
But I think for Coast right now, because he loves climbing on stuff, I was like, I should get him the pickler triangle. That would be really good for him to climb on and stuff. And then I'm like, Coast really likes climbing right now. He's also only 8 months. Like, I can't leave him playing on a pickler triangle alone. Not that I would even leave him playing on the Nugget Couch alone, but
like you could.
I could. The Nugget Couch, I can like be within view of him.
What's he gonna bonk his head on the wall?
Right,
like,
and that's kind of the whole point. Like, he can climb on it, but it's 10 inches off the ground. With them stacked. Like, he can't.
Yeah.
If the worst case happens and he's standing and he falls, it's not gonna hurt him that bad. Like,
yeah, I like that.
He's good. Yeah, that's my review. Feels good. I kind of think a Nugget Couch would probably be better quality, but $100 savings is nice, and it's bigger, which I don't love right now, but I think will be
worth it.
Really nice in like a couple of years. Yeah.
Okay. I wanted a Nugget Couch review, so there we go.
Yeah. You can see if Booker likes it next time he's over.
Okay.
But yeah.
He doesn't have any interest in
climbing or anything
He's really into crawling right now.
Nice.
That's his jam.
Yeah.
He's getting really good. He's fast. It's like freaky.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where's my kid? Stairs.
Yeah, you might need to get a gate.
We have to keep doors shut.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also likes dumping out my bathroom trash.
Kos has been pulling himself up on the toilet. I'm like, we at bare minimum need to keep the lid closed at this point. He shouldn't be crawling on the toilet either way, but
yeah. Love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we get into the episode?
Yeah. I don't think we're going to have like a lot to say.
Oh, I feel like we will. I feel like we're just going to be little chatterboxes with it.
Okay. Twist my arm.
Yeah. Challenge us.
So, we put a question box up on Instagram.
This is our official, like, this month's Mom Talk episode.
This month's Mom Talk episode. It's a viewer submission.
Mm-hmm.
So, we put up a question box on our Instagram story and said, what are some Mom Talk topics? And this one was kind of a loaded one because it's, like, a couple different things. So we thought it would be good for, like, a full episode.
Right.
Whereas normally we'd put, like, a couple different ones. Yeah. And this girl is literally so sweet and is, like, so interactive on social media. So
she's my friend in real life.
Is she? Okay. Yeah. I was going to say, I was, like, really happy to do, like, one of hers.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you are, too.
Yeah.
I don't even know her.
Love it.
I, like, messaged her today, and I was like, hey, like, just want to let you know, whatever. Did you see her response?
Yeah.
It was so sweet.
I didn't see your message. I just saw that she liked it, so I saw, like, part of your message to her. Yeah.
She was like, I haven't missed an episode.
I know. So sweet.
Okay. So she said,
if you're listening, you should have commented nice things on our TikTok.
Where was your support on TikTok?
Yeah. If you know, you know.
Yeah. Okay. She said, first few weeks with a baby, family boundaries, and then medical/health decisions for the baby.
So I feel like this is just, like, everything within, like, the first
2 to 3 months. Well,
I was gonna say, like,
newborn.
I was gonna say, like, a few weeks, but sure.
Oh, okay, yeah.
More so in the next couple of weeks, and then also within the next few months,
So kind of a 3-parter.
I love this because I feel like there's certain things that's, like, we love talking about mom stuff. We also only have 8-month-olds. We're not, like, seasoned, like, veteran moms.
But also, it's so fresh for us.
And we are not in the newborn phase. We have, conquered that whole situation. Like, don't ask me tips on...
I don't
stuff
remember.
That we're doing right now, but
I feel like when I think about newborn phase, I'm like, back in Nam.
Like, yeah, we've got that part down. Yeah, we've lived it recently.
Yeah, it's fresh for us.
Yeah.
What do you? Because we all know which one I can talk about a lot. So
why don't we just wait? What is it? First
few weeks of baby, family boundaries, health and medical decisions for baby. I'm assuming she means the first couple weeks.
Yeah, so
that's when they get stuff. If you're giving birth in a hospital, they get that stuff, and then some first vaccines or whatever.
Why don't we go kind of like chronological? Like, obviously we can't get into that much detail with stuff because it's we'd be here for hours. But why don't we like chronologically go through
the first couple weeks?
Yeah, the first couple of weeks.
It's not going to be
from giving birth.
Okay, family boundaries now. Okay, first 2 weeks of it because it all is kind of
tied together.
The same thing.
And this girl is, I think this is actually a real, I'm glad that we're doing this one.
Because I think she just went on her baby moon. She?
Maybe, but she's planning on doing a home birth.
Is she?
So this is my girl. But also, she's not the only one listening to this episode.
Right.
And there's obviously much more people that have a hospital birth.
Right.
So I think this is good because I'll talk more. I'll have her more specifically in mind when I'm talking, and you can have
you don't got to twist Kylie's arm to talk about the home birth.
Yeah. Well, it's just two completely different. Like, stuff is going to go down completely different.
Yes.
And
I feel like I know what to expect from a hospital birth.
Yeah.
So I can, like, kind of, because there's things that they ask me that I'm like, come again? And I'm the most prepared, researched, pregnant mother coming into that hospital probably.
Yeah.
Because I'm psycho.
If we were both sitting here with hospital births, it would be pretty irrelevant for her who wrote into this question.
Yeah, that's true.
She would be like, okay.
I like
Unless she ends up having a hospital birth, which she's not going to. She's going to have a great home birth. Anyways.
Okay. So. She's gone into labor.
Yeah.
She's at home. We're talking about her, but, like, also we're just talking about
everyone. That's
in general.
That's my point. Yeah.
So you've gone into labor. You're either at home or you're at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
You have the baby. It looks, we're starting with, like, the first few weeks or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
We can start a little bit before going into labor with the family boundaries, though.
Okay, yeah. That's actually a great idea. It's like laying groundwork.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jake and I have a lot of family. And we had a lot of struggles and controversy with family boundaries. Not going to get into it, but we had a lot of pushback from some people, and we had a lot of acceptance from some people. We had friends that were like, oh yeah, totally. And we had some friends that are like, you guys are a little ridiculous, you know, but like, whatever. It doesn't even matter because you just have to do what you're comfortable with. And that's like bottom line, just going into it. But you and your partner have got to be on the same page. Like, have these conversations of like, is my partner gonna text everybody to tell them that we're in labor, and who's on that list?
Or are we not going to text anyone?
Not tell anyone.
Yeah.
You know, like, are you gonna say? Do you have like, honestly, sorry, have texts written up, like, this is the text you copy and text to the people that you want to know that you're in labor,
right?
Which includes, don't tell people, or you can tell people, or we'll let you know when we want visitors, or we don't want visitors. Like, you almost kind of need to have that conversation and have those things solidified before going into labor.
I also think it's okay to change your mind, though.
It is okay to change your mind, 100%. Because we did not want any visitors at the hospital, including parents, and we ended up having both of our parents. Yeah.
You'll feel different when it's happening. I also think that me and you, if we did it again, would do some things differently.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's fine.
I would involve my mom a lot more.
Would you?
But I think that because I didn't the last time, I was just really scared.
Yeah.
But I think that second time around, I would involve her more.
Well, you know more, like, what to expect, too.
Right.
So you're not, like, scared, like you said. Like,
yeah. Which I think a lot of girls, too, probably,
sense.
Like, would want their mom there.
Yeah.
Or, you know, whatever. Yeah. But, yeah, have your boundaries laid out. And I think one thing, it was, like, a long time ago when we like first became friends and we were talking about like family drama or whatever. I think Chris said this to us. He was like, be like, with your boundaries, he's like, be a wall, not a door. With your boundaries.
I don't remember.
Because a door can be open, but a wall cannot.
Okay.
Like basically be very clear with your family that boundaries are non-negotiable.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you're not going to change my mind. Don't try.
Right.
And that just goes along with just having mutual respect for each other.
Sure.
But that's not always the case because people are really excited about a baby, and sometimes they focus too much on how excited they are, and they don't realize that there's a very scared girl who's never done this before or has, that is being very vulnerable. And
I feel like the whole birth right after having a baby situation is very similar to a baby's first birthday, of like, not really actually about the baby.
Yeah.
It's more about the mom. The baby is here. Everyone knows it. Here's a picture, whatever. You know what to expect if you're coming to see a baby. Like, the mom is the one that is a baby. Obviously, a baby is having the biggest adjustment they're ever going to have in their lives. But a baby is pretty unaware. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
A birth is about the mom.
Yeah, because the mom is going through a lot.
Scared, vulnerable you'll ever be, like, especially if you're a first-time mom. Like, you just, and I think people forget that because I think that it's been so normal in generations before us to have 17 people in the birthing room.
Yeah.
And
which, if that's what you want, then
if that's what you want, great. But most women want privacy. And I think it's really, really hard for, like, the moms in your life, like mothers-in-laws, moms, even grandmas. Like, that's really hard for them because they're really excited. And especially, like, in a mom role,
right, you
want to be caring for that person, and also you're there for your grandbaby or whatever, but, like, you want to care for the girl that's giving birth too. So it's like, it's kind of like telling a mom you can't be a mom, but it's like, it's not about you being a mom, it's about me becoming a mom.
Right.
And I think a lot of people don't get that. So there's a very, very kind way to remind people that giving birth is about pretty much no one but you.
Yeah. I think that's great. I think laying out your expectations before you go into labor, before you give birth, whatever, is great. I think being on the same page as your partner is very important. And I also think having room to change your mind and whatever is also great.
But I feel like,
because
internally
you want to change your mind, not because
don't give other people the inkling that
that's not what I meant.
You're shifty.
Yeah.
Like, with other people you need to be stern, but within your family unit of you and your husband or you and your baby daddy or whatever, you need to be like, oh, well, you know, there's some room here, there's some wiggle room here. But to everybody else from the outside, it's
Yes.
Cut and dry.
Totally. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Because it's not fair to string people along and be like, you might be able to come, you might not be, blah, blah, blah. And then they're just kind of waiting around with, like, no expectations. Like, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's great. Anything else with...
I would say the only other family boundaries would be visiting after the birth.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much the same, though.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because I think a lot of people go, well, I want to come meet the baby, and I can also do your dishes, and I can also do your laundry, and I can also... But sometimes that's not what you need.
No.
Like, Jake and I didn't need our laundry done, our house cleaned, our dishes done, food cooked. Like, we didn't need that.
Yeah.
Honestly, what we really needed was, well, therapy. But we just, like...
Some time to adjust.
Needed to be in private.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we just needed it to be the three of us because we didn't get that bonding time in the hospital because it was so crazy. So, I feel like maybe don't tell people what you're going to do for visiting after. Just say, hey, let us get home. Maybe you want people to visit you in the hospital, parents, siblings, whatever. But once you get home, it's a whole different ballgame. Visitors in the hospital is nothing compared to visitors at home. Because once you're home, you're like, this is real. There's no nurses to help me. There's no doctors coming in telling me this is normal.
Yeah, people will stay longer.
Yeah, people stay longer. Like, you're in your own home. Like, no one's helping you to the bathroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's different. So maybe just tell people... We don't know what visiting after we get home will look like, but we will let you know.
Yeah.
And we will let you know if we need meals or whatever. We really appreciate the offer, the help, whatever. But just give yourself some time to adjust being home before deciding what you want. You may be like, come over, clean my house, do my dishes, hold my baby while I shower, whatever. But you also may be like, I need some time by myself in my home with my family first.
Yeah, I think so too.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
People are not entitled to know every single last little second of your birth plan.
No, and you know the kind of person that you are too.
Yeah.
You'll stuff might change once you have the baby and once you get home, but in general, like, you'll kind of know.
Yeah. Like, Jake and I are really private people.
Yeah.
We did not have a single visitor in our home other than our parents for the first month. Like, I didn't even see you.
Yeah. Was it a full month?
It was like almost 4 weeks. You guys dropped off some coffee, I think. And I think Jake, did he bring Booker to the door?
Yeah.
And I think I couldn't come down the stairs.
Yeah, you were still upstairs.
But, like, that was so hard to know my best friend is outside my door and I physically cannot come down and see her. That was hard.
Yeah.
But then with you, we came over and brought food and saw Coast and held him before he was even 24 hours old.
Yeah, which I don't think I thought was going to happen. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like I changed my mind on that. I think I was very much like maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks of not wanting anyone. And then once he was here, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm chilling.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm chilling. Not everyone, but yeah, we can have people over.
Oh, I remember you sitting up at the dinner table and you're like, yeah, like,
I'm fine.
I just feel fine. And I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty good with
boundaries.
Oh, the other thing I was going to say is whether you're married or not, I think Jake and I have learned this over the years. We both have very strong-minded and opinionated families, which we're both like that too. Very loud, like, strong family, strong personalities.
Yeah. I
really think with the support of your partner, you should each handle your own families.
I think that's great too, yeah.
Because, it would just be so awkward with, like, Jake telling, like, my mom, like,
you're not allowed to do this.
Yeah, that's just weird. Like, it's your parents, handle your siblings. Don't put that on your partner. They're still behind you. They still got your back. But I think
you're just the one doing the actual.
Yeah, it goes over well if you are the one that communicates the boundaries to your family.
Yeah, I think that's great too. Yeah,
but that's all they kind of have. That's kind of what I really had.
I think that's great, and maybe if we think of more, we can say more. But I think that lays like a very good groundwork for.
I feel like next would kind of be like medical decisions for the baby, and then go into like the first couple weeks.
Okay, yeah, I feel like medical decisions for baby is actually very similar. I have very similar thoughts as I do with boundaries, which I think is because it's kind of a boundary type of situation, private situation.
I hit that plant.
Rubbing on the plant.
The crap out of me.
Obviously not exactly the same. I just think it's the same thing. You need to do what you think is best for your family. Mm-hmm. You can stand by what you want to do. You are also allowed to think one thing and then change your mind after a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. You do not have to write it in stone what you're doing. Kind of just the same. I don't know.
Basically,
boundaries
it's your child. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. Same thing with visitors. Yeah.
Yeah. No one's sitting there telling you with a gun to your head, pick A or B.
Yeah.
Like, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say with like. I have like a lot of medical experience. My sister-in-law's a nurse. I went to like school to be medical. Spoiler, dropped out. I was almost done, dropped out. But one thing that I always kind of live by is you should always make up your own mind, like 75%, and then make up the rest of the 25 with your doctor.
That's a good.
As long as you have a doctor that you really trust. Like, I obviously trust my OB with my life because he quite literally had my life in his hands and my infant's. So I 100% trusted him, and I would be like, okay, I did my research on this thing. This is kind of how I feel about it. What's your opinion?
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, yeah, I think I'm going to loosen up on this a little bit, or I think I'm going to double down, or maybe I'll change completely. Like, it just depends.
Mm-hmm.
I can kind of say, like,
and you're not saying just go with whatever doctor says. You're saying find a doctor that you trust.
But follow your gut more than anything. Yeah. Because here's the thing. Yes, they're medical professionals, but also this is all readily available information on Google. Yeah. If you do a 30-minute deep dive on something, you could get a pretty good idea of what it is, and then you just ask them. And
form your opinion on it.
Yeah, this is kind of how I feel, whatever. Like, there's been vaccines that with Booker's pediatrician were like, okay, like, I kind of feel like this vaccine's like you don't really need it, but you might benefit from it. We're kind of on the fence about it. Do you think, like, in your professional opinion, that this is like really necessary for like where we live? Or I think it was like a diarrhea one, and it's like
our lifestyle situation.
Yeah, and he goes, where we live in America, like first world country, whatever. He's like, this is really not an issue. It doesn't affect most kids, and if it does, it's almost never a big issue. This is more for like third world country vaccines, but it's offered, and it's like, I appreciate having a pediatrician that'll say something like that. So I trust him. Yeah. And so then we're like, okay, we're not going to do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, go into it not stupid, but like, you also need to go in it. You don't need to go into it thinking that you're like a 12-year medical degree.
That's the reason why it's important to find a medical provider that you trust, because they are there to help educate you. That's part of their job. You can switch. Yeah, and you can switch.
You can switch OBs as many times as you want. It does not matter. Yeah. Find one that you like.
Or pediatricians or whatever.
Pediatricians. Yeah. You can switch. And it's no skin off their back. They get paid no matter what. Yeah. So.
And they don't care.
They really don't. No. If you stay with them, they care about you. But if you leave, they don't care. They're like, whatever. Yeah. They would probably rather you be with someone that you like more, because y'all obviously aren't going to jive if you don't like them. Yeah. I have a couple questions that they will ask you about, like, health decisions with your baby in the first 48 hours in the hospital.
Ooh, okay.
That I was not prepared for. Okay. So I can do that, or do you want to say, like, the medical decisions that are, like, available to you with a home birth first?
My memory is absolutely terrible. I think with a home birth, everything is still offered to you. I think everything was still offered to me as far as tests go while pregnant. And I chose what I wanted to do, what I didn't want to do. There is very extremes with home births of people, which I'm not saying this is bad. This is just extremes. Some people will not ever get an ultrasound if they're doing home birth. There's some people that say, I don't ever want an ultrasound, point blank, whatever. They have their reasons for wanting to do that. There's people that are like, I want ultrasounds, but I'm going to not get as many as I normally would at a doctor. And then there's people, I was like, I'll take all the ultrasounds I can get because I like, it's fun. Yeah, it's fun to go in and see the baby. It's a lot more up to you to decide, like, what tests you want to do, what tests you don't want to do, that kind of thing. And then once baby is here, I'm trying to think. I
don't think do they really even offer you anything with Coast?
No, they offer you, like, lots of things.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. I don't think you can do any vaccines, but you can do the eye ointment. You can do
the erythromycin.
Yeah, the erythromycin. You can do that. You can do the vitamin K shot. Yeah. You can do I don't know what else
the
they
Hep B,
offer.
Or will they not do that?
I don't think they can do the Hep B. I could be wrong. It also might make a difference, like who your midwife is and whatever. We did the vitamin K with Coast, but that was it. Which I'm not going to say all of my medical decisions with Coast, but I'll say that. We did the vitamin K when he was born, and that was it. We didn't do the erythromycin or the Hep B or anything like that. That's why I'm like, I don't really.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when I went to the hospital, I didn't know about the vitamin K shot or the erythromycin. I also didn't know that they would offer his first vaccine, like the Hep B. We didn't do the Hep B. We waited, which we're on a delayed vaccine schedule anyway. And very, very selective on what vaccines. But they will offer you his first vaccine, or the baby's first vaccine, Hep B. They will offer you a vitamin K shot, which a vitamin K, because a lot of times this is really hard because this is hospital like standard to offer these things and kind of just do them. But they have to ask you. But and then they're not like against you. They're not trying to trick you, but also they understand that you've just been through something crazy. And they obviously are medical professionals, and as people who believe in medicine, they believe in this stuff, you know, that that's what's best for you and your baby. And that's what they want. So it's not like they're pushing it on you or anything like that, but they're also kind of trying to help you be like,
it's kind of like,
take something off your plate.
This is what we're going to do.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah. And then
like,
they do it.
They'll come in and they'll be like, okay, so now we can do the vitamin K shot if you're okay with that. And you're like, what's that? You know what? And they'll explain it to you, whatever. But they're like, we really recommend it because of this. And you're like, you're so like out of it sometimes. You're just like, okay, whatever. So maybe be a little bit prepared on what these things are, because it is kind of hard to make that decision in the moment. I remember I called my sister-in-law and I was like, because she's a nurse, and I was like, do I want these? And she's like, yeah, you want both those. So the vitamin K shot is to help with blood clotting, because babies don't have the ability to clot blood as well if there were to be a major bleed, and that clotting protein stays in their bodies for the first, I think it's like 8 weeks or something, until they really like are normal at clotting their own blood. So I'd say that one's, my personal opinion is that one's kind of important, but also there's a lot of babies that don't get it and are perfectly fine. It's not necessary.
I think a lot of people's decision on it is the circumcision.
Yeah, I was
think
we
that
should get into that one too.
Kind of hand in hand with that,
because that's kind of more the first couple weeks. Yeah, the erythromycin I feel like is the eye ointment, and that's just in case they have like different bacteria. They could get an eye infection. It's kind of slim to none. Yeah, but it's also really no side effects from it. So I was like, yeah, you can give it to them. We opted to not do the Hep B because the delayed vaccine. Yeah, I was like, we'll do it later at a pediatrician appointment. But fast forward is circumcision, because I feel like that's, a lot of people don't circumcise anymore, which surprises me. I didn't know that. I thought that was just something that everybody did.
I think it's like 75% in the U.S. of people circumcise. Yeah. And then in other countries, it's less.
Yeah. You have to do your own research with that.
Yeah, and they do that at different times.
Yeah.
With babies too.
I feel like probably if you're going to do it earlier is the better.
Yeah, but some babies get it done like very soon after, and then some babies, they wait.
I think they recommended that we did it at his like second pediatrician appointment. He was like, I think they have to be like minimum like 3 or 4 weeks old.
Oh, okay.
I think, because I forget why, but I think that they have to be a little bit older.
That makes sense, yeah.
But you definitely don't want to be doing that at 6 months.
No, yeah. And that was actually another one of my points. With most things, that is not one of the things. But with most things, especially with vaccines and stuff, if you're not super sure on what you want to do, you can change your mind one way. You can't change it both ways. But if you're like, I'm not really sure, there's no pressure to do it right now. We need to do this right now. Like
there's a buffer.
There's no pressure. Like, you can think about it. You don't need to hurry up and do it. There's some vaccines that you can only get when they're younger, but also
that's very slim.
You can skip those and do ones when they're older if you just don't know what you're doing. Like, most of those medical things you can wait and make your decision on.
Yeah, they kind of,
not circumcision.
Well,
but
yeah,
most other things you can have a little bit of time to think about it.
It's not all
even
like
if that's
immediate.
not what they recommend. Like, yeah.
One, we're with the vaccines that we do too. We're like we don't let him get more than 2 in one appointment. And that's just personal preference, but it makes me feel more comfortable in case he were to have some kind of reaction.
You can pinpoint
what it is. Yeah. Especially, like, we don't give him 2 new ones. Like, the first one they'll get is, if you get them, is Hep B. And I think Hep B is like 3 or 4 rounds. So the second round of vaccines, he got a new one and the second one of Hep B, which I felt fine with because he already had Hep B and didn't have a reaction, if that makes sense. Yeah. So it's also okay to tell your pediatrician, we want a delayed schedule.
There's lots of delayed schedules too. Different people come up with different ones for different reasons. Yeah. You can look into it and
like
see.
On average, you go to the doctor like every 3 months or so. So that's a huge, from 0 to 3 months, you don't have to get 5 vaccines at your 3-month appointment.
Right.
You can get 2 of them or 1 of them, and then every month after that, if you wanted all 5, get like more. Like you can spread it out to where
kind of like stack
if you
them a
got
little
every
bit more.
single vaccine offered, your kid would probably be getting 1 to 2 vaccines a month ish.
Right.
That would be like a delayed schedule. Or if you're more selective, it's like 1 every other month or something like that, which is what we do. He gets like 1 every other month. And that makes me feel most comfortable. And I also do them in the morning so that
you
way
have
I
all
have
day.
all day to see if he has a reaction.
Or you can just do all the vaccines like they tell you to.
Yeah, you can do whatever
That's
you want.
fine
Or you can
too,
do
yeah.
none of them.
Yeah, whatever.
It is what it is.
Yeah, whatever you want to do. We're just saying that there's lots of options. More than what people
and I think
typically talk about.
I think that's one thing that people think is like with your new baby is you're like, well, they're telling me that this is what's normal or this is what's average or this is what they recommend, so that's the only option. And I think that like you don't even need someone to lay out every other option for you. We just are here to tell you that like you can come up with whatever option you want.
Yeah.
Like it's not them telling you what to do. It's them saying, this is what we recommend. And then you're supposed to come back and say, well, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? What about this? What about, like, be your own advocate.
And that's why it's
ask
important
questions.
to find a doctor that you really like.
Because you can, honestly, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You really can.
You really can, yeah.
You can say, give them every single vaccine right now. Like,
some
that's
people,
age appropriate.
Yeah. Some people don't take their kids into well baby visits at all.
Yeah.
And we almost did that because I could not find a doctor that we trusted. And to be honest, with being how crunchy I am, I was like, I'd rather just not take him to the doctor than take him to a doctor that I don't trust, to be honest.
Well, I think the reason they do those wellness visits is, this is really sad, but it's the same reason why they make you do a weight check with no diaper is because they want to make sure you're not abusing your baby.
Yeah.
Because those first couple weeks with a newborn are probably the worst of your life with a child.
Yeah.
More often than not. And just saying, like, you are put to the absolute test and like pushed to your absolute breaking point. It's not that they're like down the back of your neck. It's that they just want to make sure that you're doing okay mentally, your baby's physically okay, you know, you're not hurting your baby, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I think those wellness visits are important. Obviously you're not hurting your baby, so it wasn't like that important for you, but I do encourage everybody to go to them because also it forces maybe like a mom who's in a really bad spot, forces them to kind of be somewhere where they can say, I'm really struggling, help.
Yeah, I think that too. I think most people that don't, well, I don't know, that might be naive, but I think most people, and probably everyone that is listening to our podcast, if they decided to not do well baby visits, which is already a very small amount of people, are people who are very
crunchy.
Yeah, and just like, we pretty much did end up doing all of our well baby visits. I think we skipped one at the very beginning because we didn't feel comfortable or whatever, but now we go to a doctor like a regular amount.
But like you experienced, your pediatrician will probably hound you a little bit. Mm-hmm. They will call you and say,
which is why we don't go to the regular pediatrician, let me tell you that, because we don't like that.
But that's why they do it. They want to see your baby and they want to make sure your baby's okay.
I suppose so. Yeah, I think absolutely you need some kind of support. I think I had lots of support that I really trusted.
Well, and also
other professionals that were not pediatricians.
Yeah. I was going to say at most actually at all pediatrician offices, probably at like most doctors' offices for kids, have a nursing consultant?
Lactation
consultant. And you want to know what? Breastfeeding's a bitch. So take that up because it's free.
Yeah. Yeah, and you need someone to support you in that too.
Yeah, because that was something I went home on, I'm like, what do I do if this doesn't work? Because we had a lot of breastfeeding issues. There's a lactation consultant at your disposal. Call her.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
That's pretty much like medical health decisions. I was
going to say one other thing about that. No, I forgot.
Sorry, it's because I bulldoze.
That's okay. I think I was just going to... What was I going to say? I was going to say something about just things... Oh, I was going to say another reason that I feel like things are different between us and just that things will be different with different people is that I did a home birth. So we had care for the first 6 weeks with our midwife. So we wouldn't have gone to a pediatrician either way within the first 6 weeks. We had the midwife coming out to the house for the first few visits, and then we went to the midwife's office. So I know most people are not doing home birth, but the person that wrote this in is planning a home birth.
Yeah.
It probably makes a difference on what your midwife offers, but my midwife cared for my baby until 6 weeks.
Which is nice.
Or 8. I think it was 6, though. Actually,
Nothing
maybe
worse
it was
than
8.
carting off your newborn to the doctor's office 5 days postpartum.
Yeah, I didn't have to do that. I think she came here until like 3 weeks or something. I don't really remember, actually, but yeah, she came and did home visits
like,
for the first few. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of nice, yeah, going to her office after that. But anyways, stuff will be different. If you're doing home birth, probably your midwife will offer something like that you're not having to go to the pediatrician, like, literally. I think if you do a regular vaginal delivery at a hospital, I think you have to go back, like, 24 hours later.
24 hours after you're discharged, you have to go to your first pediatrician appointment, and they schedule it for you.
And you had to do that, too, even with the C-section?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a lot. I didn't. I got to stay on my couch. I was sleeping when my midwife got here for a 24-hour visit.
I was waddling to the car, being lifted in and out of my back seat with nerve damage, and waddling into the office, gushing blood.
Yeah. I was sleeping. They did, like, half the appointment without me. She came in, and Chris comes. He's like, the midwife's here. I'm like, oh, I was supposed to only sleep for 10 minutes. It's been much more than 10 minutes. Anyways, my point was just that stuff will be different. You won't. Yeah. You'll have different, whatever you decide with the pediatrician situation, it will be different than if you do it at a hospital, because you won't. Yeah. You won't likely go into an office. Yeah. 24 hours later, and even if you do, it will probably be your midwife's office.
Yeah. And all these things also depend on your pregnancy, because you had a very unproblematic pregnancy, and I had a very opposite pregnancy. Yeah. I was very happy to take all of the medical help offered to me. Yeah. Yeah,
I was like, very happy to be like, stay away from me with anything. Yeah.
Okay, anything else on the medical?
I think that's it. I mean, we might think of more stuff, but yeah.
First few weeks of the baby, I don't really have a whole lot to say other than you're just surviving. And you just need to be okay with that you're not living, you're just surviving.
I think it's interesting. I have such, like, mixed feelings about it, because on one hand, I feel like when I had a newborn, I was the most in touch. Like, it felt, in a weird way, very natural to me to be taking care of this newborn. Obviously, I had never done it before. I've said before that I was not a nanny. I guess it doesn't even matter if you were a nanny, because if you're a nanny, you are not taking care of a 1-day-old. But I wasn't a nanny. I didn't have any, like, experience like that or anything. And I felt so, like, in tune and, like, so...
like your mom got.
Yeah, like, I just felt really in tune the first few months, probably, with a newborn. And now I feel in tune, but in a different way. Like, it's shifted.
More logical, less, like, emotional, kind of?
Kind of. And I also think that when you have a newborn, it's, like, very hard, obviously, but it's also, like, they're eating, they're pooping, they're sleeping, they're crying. It's very hard, but you're not having to make decisions, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're struggling with, like,
you're struggling to breastfeed, but you know, like, they have to eat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you could have, I mean, we had a really hard, like, breastfeeding journey for, like, the first 2 months. Yeah. But, yeah, you're struggling with breastfeeding. You're struggling with changing their internal clock from night to day, like, making sure they get that straight. You're struggling with, I think your biggest decision is probably, what do I swaddle them with or something.
Right. You're not making, like, parenting decisions at that point.
You're not like,
and even, like,
damage my kid.
Like, yes, you're going to be probably thinking about the vaccines situation, which is very soon after, but the first few days you're not. Yeah. The first few days you're not thinking about vaccines. You're not thinking about sleep training. You're not thinking about feeding them. Yeah. You're not thinking about...
You're just going off instinct.
You're just going off instinct.
And just, like, go with it.
There's honestly, in my experience... I don't even want to say this, but also you'll get what I'm saying. There's almost, like, not really a wrong way to do it. Like, the goal is keeping this baby alive. Yeah, that's... As long as you're keeping
really
this baby alive.
Bare minimum, like, caveman type of living.
Right. But it feels very... To me, it felt very instinctual and, like, natural and whatever. And it feels different now, is what I was saying.
Yeah. Well, and also I think...
My point was that it is very hard, but also it felt very, like, in tune, I guess.
Which I feel like, too, like, a newborn... depending on your newborn, is very textbook. Mm-hmm. Like you said, eat, sleep, poop. Like, you know, whereas, like, now with an 8-month-old, you're like,
They have like a personality that you have to work with.
Yeah, personality. They're this and that. Like, Booker's starting to like, when he doesn't want any more food, he'll scream. And I'm like, how do I get him to stop doing that? Where it's like a newborn, it's kind of textbook, you know?
Right.
Like a problem arises and there's kind of like 2 options to solve it and you're like good to go.
Right. Which, for the record, I would like to say this. I am not saying that now is harder than a newborn. I am not saying that. Because I think right now is way easier than having a newborn. Because the things that you're struggling with, yes, are like more decision things. And yeah, like we said, and I think we were talking about this in our last episode. Like we said, like it's hard to eat a warm meal. But like I can eat a meal. When I had a newborn, it was like I'm holding this baby and someone needs to feed me. Like someone needs to pre-cut.
Shovel the food into my mouth.
Yeah, someone needs to pre-cut and load the fork for me to eat.
100%.
And there was a list of foods that I could not eat because it was too hard to eat with, like, you're not eating soup.
No, you're not eating cereal. You're not eating rice.
No, you're eating something that can be put on a fork.
Yeah, fork meals only pretty much.
Yeah. My point is just, it gets easier. I'm not trying to, like.
Well, every level of parenting is hard in its own way.
Yeah.
But the reason that newborn is so hard is because your basic needs are not being met. I.e. eating, sleeping, feeling healthy.
And also, you are only worrying about them eating, sleeping, pooping. It is like more minimal. You're not worrying about these parenting decisions like we're talking about. But also, a newborn needs to eat. If your 8-month-old is refusing to nurse, it's like, okay, they're heavy, and if they can skip a meal.
Yeah, your newborn can't skip a meal, and it's every 2 to 3 hours.
It's very, like, it's like all you're doing is nursing, sleeping, eating. That's all you're doing.
Yeah, you're kind of on, you're not, I feel like you and I used to say this, we're on a 24-hour clock. Mm-hmm. We're not on like your average 12-hour-a-day clock. You're on a 24-hour clock because it's quite literally, they eat, they sleep for a little bit, they wake up, you change them, you feed them again, they sleep again. It's like over and over and over and over and over. And that's why it's the trenches. Yeah,
it's literally like you feed them, you get them to sleep. By the time they're about to fall asleep, you have to change the diaper. Okay, then it's like this like whole like
it's
takes
redundant.
An hour just to do one thing and then you're back to square one.
Yeah, by the time you're done with that 3-step cycle, you're starting it all over again.
Exactly.
On top of, you're not sleeping for so many reasons. It's not just because of the baby. It's because you just gave birth and you're probably not feeling your best. Mm-hmm. Or you have to get up and change your pad. Or, change your diaper because you're bleeding 17 gallons a minute. Like, you know, or you have to eat and drink water in the middle of the night because you're breastfeeding and you have to keep your milk up. Or your milk's not in yet. Like, snacks in the nightstand is a game changer. What's the drink that we drink?
Body Armor
in the nightstand. Mm-hmm. 2 Stanleys of water on the nightstand. Always. Like,
now I'm like so really thinking about how it was like.
There's so many reasons why you're not sleeping. I know Booker was like at the very beginning did not want to sleep on his own. He wanted to be held literally 24/7.
I think that's common.
So Jake and I would take shifts. Oh, that's such good advice. Do not try and like tough it out together. This is a team effort, but you're on separate. Like it's not
just do whatever works, but don't do what everyone says that you need to do.
Yeah,
do
like
what
Jake
works
and I
for
tried
you.
to just do it together. Like, well, if you're awake, I want to be awake. No,
you sleep so that you can.
You sleep so that you can take your shift. Yeah. And you want to know what? That's the safest thing for the baby, is because Jake needed to have him for like 3 hours ish, and then it was time for me to breastfeed him, and then it was my shift.
3-hour shift. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm sorry, but even if that's not what you want to do, I feel like that's this. I mean, obviously, yeah, do it works, whatever. But I feel like that's the safest option. The priority is the baby's safety, and
I think that. But I also think that the waters get real murky, and people think different things is safer than other things.
Well, I mean, it's hard because they tell you not to sleep with your baby, like holding your baby, and for the most part, I think you shouldn't. But if you're in the middle of the bed and you're propped up with pillows all around you and there's literally nothing bad that could happen if your arms went from this to this.
Right.
Take a snooze. You know what I mean? But I would say err on the side of not, because it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
And that's where shifts come in handy really well.
I really did not want to co-sleep with Coast for a lot of different reasons. safety reasons, but honestly more so because I just could not do it. Like, it was terrible sleep for me. However, there was, I don't know how many nights. It was 2 nights or something, 3 nights that we did it because
it was your only option for sleep.
It was literally, that or nothing. And there's safe ways to go sleep. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to do that, just look up resources. This girl that wrote in, your midwife probably will be an advocate for co-sleeping. I'm not sure. My midwife was like, yeah, just do it. I had her come over. I had her set up my bed
for what it should look like.
If you're going to co-sleep. If you have a midwife, I'm sure they can do that. Or you can just look it up if you don't, if you're having a hospital, whatever.
I feel like that's the biggest thing too. Like, don't make decisions at 3 a.m. when you're sleep deprived.
Right.
Just try to survive the night, and in the morning,
make the decision.
Get with your partner and say, let's co-sleep. Let's figure out how to do it. What's the safest way to do it? Or whatever. Do not make that decision at 2 a.m. when you're sleep deprived. Right. Because you will make a decision that you might regret.
Yeah.
Or you may not do it the best way because you're not in the right state of mind.
Mm-hmm. That's good advice. Yeah. What else was I going to say about that? Something else came to mind. Oh, the snack in the nightstand situation. I had a snack basket within reach of me at all times. Mm-hmm. I'm not even kidding. Yeah. I had a snack basket. Some people might think this is gross. I think I would have passed out if I didn't have it. I had a snack basket above my toilet. I was like, if I'm in the bathroom,
that breastfeeding hunger is something different.
I need to have a snack while I'm in the bathroom. Like, 100%. I need to wake up, have a snack, take my shower. When I'm out of the shower, have a snack, especially for the first few days.
Oh my gosh,
when you're losing all of that blood, like, you need to, like, really be very aware of having snacks.
Like, do your research on what are good snacks too, like oat snacks, granola snacks.
Yeah, that's true too.
Like, it's like a 10-minute Google search. What are the best snacks for, breastfeeding after postpartum?
Or just
whatever,
use your common sense. Like, common sense, do a nice hearty granola bar instead
Gushers.
of... Yeah, right.
Yeah. Dude, Jake got Gushers at the store today.
Gushers are so good.
No, I had one. It made my tummy hurt so bad.
It would probably make my tummy hurt so bad.
It's going on the list of things that make me shat myself.
That doesn't mean it's bad. That is some of the best things in life. The things that go right through you.
A Gusher's not worth it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, have your treats, but
it's great if you want Gushers, have that, but Gushers, also have a granola bar with your Gushers, or have a granola cluster, or something with your thing.
My other thing was, oh my gosh, hey, you know what? I've not burped into the microphone in 2 episodes.
I know, good job.
Pat me on the back. If you please, set up a meal train with signups.
If you don't, please don't do that, though.
Yeah, because
I did not want that.
No, people, whether you do this or not, people will be trying to bring food to your doorstep.
Yeah.
Literally unannounced, actually. It will happen. But if you have people that are willing to bring you meals and be on a meal train, you have these people, like, in a note, whatever, and then maybe text them in a group chat and say, hey, we would like a meal on this. We would need a meal on this day. Like, is anyone willing to? Whatever. Or maybe your parent can organize that for you. Right. So it's one thing off your plate, or your sister or something. That would be a better idea, yeah. Have someone organize it for you and tell them, like, hey, I think, like, in a couple days here, we're going to need a meal. We're kind of, like, getting low or whatever. Or even
send them to the grocery store.
Order your groceries online at Walmart or Target and have them go pick them up and bring them to your door, because that is a game changer. Have people at your disposal that know that they're at your disposal. Like, hey, I'm going to need you to go get groceries or whatever. Or I'm going to need you to bring me a meal. Or can you run to Costco and make a meal and drop it on my doorstep? Like, can you bring me a coffee? Having someone just bring you a coffee, like, if you had 6 people lined up to bring you a coffee every day for the first week, that would be genius. When you guys brought us a coffee, I was like, ugh, bless.
I think it was like our first actual outing with
it was the best.
Isn't that so special?
I know, it was cute.
Maybe we should talk about that a little bit. I feel like meals are actually very important. What did you guys do?
Well, so our situation was obviously not what we had planned, because we changed our mind, because we can. We actually ended up having my parents go to my house, or our house, and I had them bring over extra pillows because I had a C-section, so I needed to be propped up to sleep.
After you were home, you had them come over? And
no, before we even got home.
Okay.
We had them go to the house and like bring a couple things, like bring some extra pillows to help prop me up, like that kind of stuff. I had them go get like breastfeeding bags, like just little things that like
you forgot about or whatever.
Yeah, we forgot about, you know, whatever. And shout out to having like just a support system. I probably would have asked for these things had I thought about it, but I just didn't think about it. But we came home and there were like 3 different bouquets of flowers around our house.
Oh, that's
My
nice.
mom emptied the dishwasher. I mean, my house is like pretty clean all the time anyway, but
just tied up the loose strings or whatever.
she tied up the loose strings. I think there was a blanket that was out she put away. And like they went to Costco and got a bunch of snacks, which Costco is the best because bulk. Got a bunch of snacks and got a bunch of Costco meals, and they actually cooked one of them.
Nice.
So we had,
home
there was like 2 meals in the freezer, 2 meals in the fridge, 1 cooked, snacks. I had Jake's parents go get us like some breastfeeding snacks like a day or 2 after we got home. Like, but basically like those are some things that now looking back, I should have asked for is, can you go make sure that my house is just tidied up? Mm-hmm. Can you go drop some meals off in my fridge? Or, you know, whatever, like just something to make you like not go home and be like, okay, I need to do this and this, and you know?
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. That's also a very intimate thing. So maybe parents or a sister. I see these TikToks of people going over and like decorating the house with all these balloons and banners and blah, blah. And that's really cute. But I think what people don't think about is that stuff has to be taken down and thrown away. And
depends on the person.
Depends on the person.
Some people would love that. I wouldn't have wanted that either.
But like the flowers, that made me feel really special.
Yeah, that is really cool. Yeah. Okay, so you would like have close people to you, kind of bring you.
Kind of just set your house up for you, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I would say the best people to do that would be like a parent or a sibling that you like really feel close with. Mm-hmm. And they don't have to have a key to your house. They can come to the hospital and your husband or whatever can run out a key to them. Right. Like, you know. Yeah. And then one thing too is whether you want visitors in the hospital or not, that's another thing. Your parents can bring you food. Siblings can bring you food. People can bring you food. And not come in. Yeah. They can give it to the nurse, and the nurse can bring it into you.
And same thing at home.
Yeah. Drop it on the doorstep.
Yeah. My doula, I think, I didn't want a meal train, and we didn't end up doing this because I didn't want it. But she was like, you can put a cooler outside on your door and sign up for a meal train and have a nice little sign there that says, please put it in the cooler. Yeah. Like, so you can do that. I didn't do that, but you can do that. And I think that feels rude, like, when you're doing it, but from the outside, no one thinks that. No. Everybody
wants to help. Like, and that's the thing. Better to tell people what help you need than to have them be like, well, I can do this. Well, I can do this. Can I do this? Can I do? And you're like, ugh, that was like our mistake. Is like, we should have told people what we needed.
Yeah. Okay, I want to say what I did because I had different experiences.
And then is that our last?
Yeah.
It's almost 6:30?
Yeah.
Good place to...
Yeah, that sounds like a good place to end. We do not have super close family, friends. No, we do have close friends.
I'm like, ouch!
We don't have close family, siblings situation. We also had a home birth, so it would have literally been in our house. So if you have lots of close people in your life that you want to have help and bring you stuff and set up your house or whatever, I think that's great. What we did to prepare was a few things. We hired a house cleaner to come
before.
Actually, I feel like that didn't happen.
I don't think it did.
I think that was supposed to happen, and then I had Coast early. Well, she did come after.
I think, I was going to say, I think it was after.
She was supposed to come before. She was scheduled to come before my due date. I was hellbent that I was going to have a baby 2 weeks late. So I scheduled my cleaner, I think literally on my due date, actually. And I had him early. Anyways, I guess that didn't actually go to plan for us. But that was our idea. So that's a good idea. You can do that. A little bit spendy, sure. If you don't want to do that, that's okay. But that is an option, is hiring someone to come and clean your house.
Or having, like, a friend
do it.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. All I'm saying, if you don't have a friend.
If you don't have support.
If you don't have support, you can hire someone to do that. There's lots of things that you can do for meals. if you want to do a meal train, great. If you don't want to do a meal train because you don't have people to do a meal train or you just don't want that, people do freezer meals, like they prep a whole bunch. I also wasn't going to do that because I hate that also. We pre-bought a bunch of the Costco
and put them in the freezer.
Meals. A ton, like, I mean, not a ton, but probably 8 of them or something, and put them in the freezer. And I think a handful of times had people like bring them back, like bring more to our house. But also I think we had 8, which is enough for like a couple of weeks for 2 people.
Oh, yeah.
And at that point I could send Chris out to get more or whatever. But we did that. We also did a lot of like freezer breakfast things that were more hearty than what I would normally eat.
Like a breakfast sandwich or something.
Like a breakfast sandwich, a breakfast burrito, something that you can just toss in the microwave that you can eat with one hand.
Like Jimmy Dean's.
Situation. Yep.
Yeah.
We did a bunch of that kind of prep. Like go to Costco a few times and drop a couple $100 a few times and just have
freezer
stuff in the freezer.
Or stuff that just doesn't go bad. Granola bars. Yeah.
Snacks also. Yeah. That's what we did. Just all that to say, if you have lots of support, use them, obviously. If you don't have lots of support or you just don't want to ask because you feel awkward or you don't want people in your
private
house,
person,
or you prefer a Costco meal over someone bringing you a homemade lasagna.
Yeah.
You don't love homemade lasagna. Like, then you don't gotta do that. You can do different things. There's also, I considered this and I didn't actually end up doing it because this would be the very pricey option, but there is not a ton around here, but there is people that you can hire that are like postpartum cooks. They don't come into your house, but they'll drop off meals for you that they cook. You can do something like that. There's obviously lots of different options.
I don't think anyone's that bougie. You are that bougie.
About it, but
you have a lot of options available to you.
Yeah. Do whatever works for you. Use people if you want, but if you don't want, I'm just here to say it's okay because I didn't want that and I didn't really have that, and that is okay too, and we made it through just fine.
Yeah. Basically, don't feel bad for doing anything that you want to do because this time is about you and your family adjusting.
A great way to wrap it up.
Yeah. Just do whatever feels right.
Yeah.
And that's...
Get supportive people around you. Yeah. Pay them if you have to.
Kylie's my best friend who I saw several times a week, and I don't think I heard any lip anytime at all about wanting to be alone for 4 weeks.
No.
Like,
and I didn't hold Booker for the first...
I think the first time you held him... well, first of all, she had her own baby, so it was like...
That's different, too.
It's different. Yeah. When I held Coast, I was still pregnant. But I don't think you held him until he was like a couple months old. And it was just, like, convenient.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't even remember. But, yeah. People need to just respect what you're doing, basically.
You can still have a relationship with a baby, enjoy them, love on them, and appreciate them without having to hold them. Like, I would say you and Booker have a age-appropriate, good relationship. Mm-hmm. When he sees you on my phone screen, he lights up. Yeah. And it's not like you're, like, snuggling him and cuddling him and kissing him and holding him and all the time.
It's also different because I have a baby. So if we're together...
Well, yeah, but that just goes to show that, like, you don't need to be up in a baby's business to have a good relationship with them because the relationship is just going to be age-appropriate.
Also, just... I guess we're speaking to the moms. We're not speaking to the other people. But I was going to say just hug the mom instead of the baby.
Yeah. Well, no, there's friends of, like, people who are having babies. Yeah. And basically just do whatever feels right to you. And if someone doesn't agree with it, they may
Find someone that does.
Find someone that does. Yeah. Like, don't lose sleep. They'll either get over it or maybe they're not right for your life.
Yeah. Yeah, I also think a lot of decisions that you make feel very heavy because they are very heavy. You're making a big decision for your baby. They're not that heavy to other people. Even if they're acting like it is.
They'll get over it.
Yeah.
They really will.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's it.
I know, we did good. We were pretty productive for, what? It's 6:30, 2.5 hours?
Probably 2 hours.
Probably, I want like 2 hours. Yeah. We were really productive. We did good.
I know. Okay. I don't know what... All right, my baby's freaking out.
Yeah, I was like,
so that's our cue to get out of here. We'll see you guys next week.
And I don't know if any of this is going up for Mother's Day, but if it is, Happy Mother's Day.
I think it is. Yeah. Happy Mother's Day. Okay, bye guys.
Bye.